Today is just a day of multiple takes, but how are you today? This is Donnie Brownhill, America's Better Life Strategist and sleep wellness and equanimity living expert. I'm also a professional speaker and an author of three upcoming books: Be Your Own Catalyst, Unleash, Be Your Own Catalyst, Unleash the Fire Within, and Sleep Poses Your Life. I also help SOS, that is sleepy, overwhelmed, and stressed individuals, be okay when everything is not okay, by helping them gain clarity and supporting them to move towards a restful, surrendering, and more peaceful life. With all that said, today is day 48 of my 50 lessons I've learned in my 50 years of life. And today's lesson is I must take this journey alone. Again, I must take this journey alone. Some people actually call this the dark soul, the dark night of the soul. And it's a place where you go where you have lost, you have no hope. I had no hope. I had no connection to God. I felt like I was dying. I felt like I was dying. I had no connection to anybody or anything. And it all started when I moved to Alabama. The first 2 years I was functioning strictly off my spiritual abilities and being comfortable walking within that, and decisions were made on based on that. I was very centered, and I happened to meet this lady, and I actually worked with her, and she broke me wide open. I thought I was happy. I didn't understand. She showed me that I was selfish, that I was racist. I was had a superior attitude. I was actually what I would call a biatch. It was full blown, and this time these it was probably about 3 years were so rough for me. Me calling on God, getting comfortable, it just wasn't there. There was nothing that was relieving me of this dying that I had. And I knew that no one, not a person in this world, could help me get through this. And I had to go through this. And I had to understand that that's where I realized that everybody's your teacher. And I had to come from this space of pain and neglect and insecurity. And what happened was she showed me the depths of who I was. And it was frightening at some point that you come into a space, or you actually in your life, and you believe that you're happy, that you're secure, that you feel good about yourself, your life, your career, all that is happening, and suddenly this incident happens and you just feel like there's no hope. There's no way of you getting out of this. There's no way of feeling anything. And it was something that most definitely was worth it, because I believe the seventh year, and it was 4 years later, I was told, a voice, God said, that you could not possibly understood love, kindness, and compassion until you had to go through it. And that's what I had to do. That's why I stand here with you, being comfortable in my own skin, being okay, and seeing myself in other people. When I see someone who's a racist, I can see myself in them. When I see someone who's insecure, I can see myself in them. When I see someone who thinks they're superior, they think they're better than me, I can see myself in them because I can see their pain. And that's what the dark night of the soul taught me, that pain, to see it in someone else. And what it also is, elevated me into a better human being. It was a spiritual process that elevated me into a better human being. So sometimes when we're going through those times when we're lonely, like nothing is helping, you can't even hear God, life is stagnant, you're wondering why you keep going through the same thing over and over again. Sometimes it's your dark night of soul. It's the body processing the ego and releasing it, and understanding that there is something higher than that. and you are elevating to that level. To be able to be kind to someone when they're not kind to you. To be able to see yourself in that child that's hurting because you remember when you were that age. To be able to come from a place of your heart and not your hurt. So it was a very difficult 3 years that I felt so lost. But I understood that there was nobody that could take me through it but me. And that came from understanding the process and still talking to my divine God, and still, because those were the answers, were like in the shower when I'm like, this is just so difficult. Why does this keep happening? And it's just part of the process. And to know that it's going to get better. Because see, that's one thing I felt lost, and I felt like there was no hope. But because I had a foundation that was my hope, that this was just something I had to go through. This is the process I needed to become who I am today. To love all that I am and be so proud of me, and be okay with anyone in my space. And if to love myself enough to dismiss people that did not bring that level of consciousness to the conversation. So this one's a little longer than, oh, well, actually it's not. It's about the normal time that I do. But I had actually went through it, and it was very painful because it was a sense of lost. I was lost. I had no hope, and no one could talk to me. If I had a conversation, there was nothing that comforted me. And there was a lot of crying, and there was a lot I don't understand. But I just knew that there was something that was going to happen that was going to be amazing on the other side of it. And that's what I had. Still had that hope. And there are some people that go through it and they never get the hope. And they may actually commit suicide going through that. There is a mental disease, but there are also similarities to the dark soul of the night. And it's something that you have to be careful when you're dealing with people, because they may actually be suicidal, or they may just be at this point of this spiritual change that's going on. To talk about that is a whole nother subject, so I won't go into that, but it's a similar feeling, that loss of hope, of loneliness. No one understands, no one gets it. And that's what I mean by I must take this journey alone. So I leave you with this. Sometimes you do have to take the journey alone. There's a time and a place in life where you're going to go through something and only you can go through it. And it's like the footprints in the sand. God will be carrying you through, because you only see one footprints in the sand, and they won't be yours. So he will carry you. So sometimes when you don't quite understand, don't lose hope, even when you feel like you don't have it. When you feel like you're so alone, because you're never, ever alone. Ever. It doesn't have to be someone physically there. That's how I feel about death. That's why I said death is a great thing, because my grandmother's always with me. We have conversations. I don't have to go to where she was buried. I can go in the kitchen and I start cooking. I was like, well, Grandma, I want to make your fried pies. Now, how do you, okay, she used to cut them up real thin, and then she would put them in this, and she would do this, and she would do that, and Grandma's telling me the recipe. So you're never alone. Never. Now, you get lonely, but you're never alone. So I had to take this journey alone. And when I say that, I mean a physical presence of someone else, not a spiritual presence, because there was always somebody there. Even when I was crying, I felt like someone was covering me. And I didn't know what was going on. But I'll leave you with this too. I realized that the change had came when I met a coworker of mine's wife. And I was sitting across from her, and she started having a conversation with us. And she was not a nice person. She was very biatchy type. And I left there and I cried because I said, oh my God, that used to be me. That used to be me. And that's how I knew I came out, because that used to be me. So don't be so hard on yourself when you need that downtime and you just need to get away. But it gets to the point that you're really thinking about harming yourself, then please seek help. Seek help. You don't want to get that low. So, lesson 48 of my 50 lessons I've learned in my 50 years is I must take this journey alone. So many blessings. This is a recording, so I want to thank anybody who listens. Know that you are loved. Know that you are truly loved. Truly loved, unconditionally. I don't need to hear from you often, but when I text you and give you a little message, you've just been on my heart. So thank you so much. And I'll see you tomorrow for day 49, lesson 49 of my 50 lessons I've learned in my 50 years of life. Many blessings and Godspeed on this journey called life. Bye-bye.